What's going on, Next Gen fam? Welcome back to Mentor Momentum with Next Gen HQ. This week, we got to sit down with Lauren Weinberg, the Chief Marketing Officer at Square. 3 learnings you can expect from this action-packed episode right here. Number 1, the importance of keeping an open mind and embracing the opportunities that come with change. Number 2, learning how to listen to your gut and follow your intuition. And number 3, the value of goal setting and understanding that even when you don't reach your goals, it's all about progress, not perfection. So I hope you enjoy this incredible episode of Mentor Momentum, powered by Next Gen HQ, featuring Lauren Weinberg, the CMO of Square. Enjoy.
We'd love to know what's one piece of advice that today you would look back and give your 20-year-old self.
I think throughout my career, there's always lots of curves and pivots and unexpected changes that come up along the way. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten much better at sort of being able to roll with the punches. But I probably would tell my 20-year-old self to just go with it and really see where things are going to take you, instead of spending time getting stuck in my own head, worrying about what if scenarios. And this is something that I tell a lot of people on my team as well. But I think that's probably the biggest one is to not worry about problems before they exist. And when a change comes your way, be really open to seeing where it will take you before you jump to conclusions. I honestly think that it's just time and experience. And so the more of those experiences that you live through, and then you come out the other side and you realize, I think for me personally, that nothing was ever as bad as I made it out to be in my head. And so then I just stopped doing that to myself. And so when big things would come my way, I would just say, well, for the most part, all throughout my career, these things have happened quite frequently. And in every case, usually there was a really good outcome that came on the other side of it. And so when that happens to me today, I always say, well, I'm just going to see where things go. And I'm going to go and I'm going to be really open-minded about what this could be. And I think I also realized you have options. There's a lot of options. And so you're never specifically tied into anything. So be open, embrace the change, see where it can take you. I'm a big believer, and I think you said this as well, change almost always brings opportunity. It may be opportunity for growth. It may be opportunity for learning, but either way, you're going to get something out of it. And so I just think it's time and experience that enough where you say, I'm not going to spiral. I'm not going to go down that path. I'm just going to go in and be really open about it and be super calm and see where it goes.
What is a mistake or a failure that you feel you've made along your journey? And why would you want to share this with the next generation of entrepreneurs so they can learn from that?
Well, I would say to begin with, so many, and that's part of the journey. But I would say specifically, I think for me, the 2 things that really stand out when I think about this are, number 1 is just not following my intuition enough. I would say to me, those have been the biggest failures when I haven't listened to myself, when there's somebody who's on my team and things aren't working and you just keep trying to make it work. And over time, the problems only continue to build instead of really following your intuition. I would say when I have followed my intuition in terms of roles that I want to take or opportunities, even when it was scary, if I had a good feeling about it, that's usually led me to a much better place. And I have always regretted not following my intuition. And the second one is probably just listening more. I think I've become a better listener as I've gotten older, but I also still work on this. And so I think that's the thing, is that it's nobody, I would say everybody still makes mistakes. I'm still learning things almost every day in my job. That's part of what makes it fun. And so listening a lot, especially when you're new to a company or new to a role. I definitely like to ask a lot of questions, but I really like to listen to, and I would say not listening enough, or really, I think, and it's not just what people are saying, but it's how they're saying it and what they're trying to tell you, even for the things that are really hard to say. So I think it's listening for the things that people don't want to tell you and helping to sort of pull those out of people.
What is one life habit that empowers you to be your best?
I want to say it's probably exercise. And I think for me, it took me a long time in life. And so I'm happy to share that I didn't start exercising very regularly until I was in my mid-30s. So I would say I always loved to exercise and be outside. But when I was sort of in the middle of like having very young children and trying to grow my career, it was really hard for me to find time for that. And then eventually I said, I just need to carve out this time for myself. And I would say, especially in the last 9-10 months with the pandemic, for me, I think it's really it's a life habit that is a lifesaver for me, to be honest, because it's sometimes the only alone time that I have. If I'm tired and I exercise, I feel better. If I'm stressed and I exercise, I feel better. I sleep better. I love music too. So usually for me, the exercise comes with music. So it's just a really nice escape. And I also know that I'm doing something good for myself. And so I've tried to be really diligent about always making time for exercise, just because I know I can be a better mom, a better wife, a better boss, all the things that I want to be when I'm just taking, and it doesn't have to be a very long time, even if it's half hour out of my day, to get that time that I'm really just like getting going and moving my body. So I have a Peloton, which has been really great during the pandemic. And so I will say there are days where my exercise is 15 minutes on the Peloton, and sometimes it doesn't happen until 9:30 at night. I mean, that's kind of the rare exception, but I say that even that 15 minutes to me will make a really big difference. And so I think it's just starting somewhere. There were times where I would just literally go outside my front door and go for a quick run. And so it doesn't need to be something that takes a lot of time or that is very involved and complex. And so I always say, like, just start small, start somewhere, take that step, just do one thing, like lift weights for 5 minutes, whatever it is. And I think just starting to do those things and then just be easy on yourself. You know, I mean, everybody, I would say people are so hard on themselves, but do the best you can. Try to carve out 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. And then just start to build the habit over time and see how it makes you feel. And then I think before you know it, you're just doing it and it's part of your daily routine. And I always say, and I just talked to my team about this, but I don't usually have resolutions. I just have goals. So it's just something that I want to do in the year ahead. And I had some goals for last year and I didn't achieve most of them, but I made progress on them. And so I think just saying things out loud that you want to do just helps you hold yourself accountable. So now I tell my entire team every year what my goals are for the year. And then at the end of the year, I talk about what of my goals I achieved. And it just holds me accountable to myself for I've put it out there into the world. I've now like either put it on paper or said it out loud in a way that I'm going to try and do it more.
So this is from a lovely community member named Pamela Goldberg. She has been in the Next Gen HQ family for, I think, 3 or 4 years now or so. So this is coming from one of the oldies but the goodies here. She wanted to ask directly about Square and how your work and kind of the company has been impacted by the pandemic and any sort of changes you're having to make to step up a little bit more strongly for all of the entrepreneurs that your product kind of perfectly touches every single day.
Well, Pamela, thank you so much for the question. This is a great question. And the short answer is that we had to change everything about what we were doing last year. I would say it started with, when the pandemic first started, we had a bunch of campaigns that were about to go live. It was supposed to be a really a big change year for Square in terms of our marketing strategy. And so it definitely was a little heartbreaking when I think some of our campaigns were supposed to go live maybe the next day, and we pulled pretty much everything down because it just wasn't going to make sense or really land in the moment. And our pivot went from let's take things down. And then the next focus was, what are we going to do for small business owners? And what are the ways that we can support them during this time? And I would say the great thing about Square is that as a company and as a brand, this is very much part of our ethos. It's very much a customer first approach inside the company in terms of how we think about the products that we put out there. Our product teams reevaluated their roadmaps and priorities and said, what are the products that we can put out that would really help small business owners adapt during this time, which included, being able to offer restaurants and retailers curbside pickup and delivery, We also decided, instead of spending money marketing to customers, we are going to refund our customers on their SaaS fees for March and April, because we knew that their business wouldn't be operating as usual, and we wanted to do something that would provide relief. Our company pivoted very quickly to be able to support PPP loans and really help our sellers and our small business customers get access to government loans through our platforms. Let's take down everything, all of our messaging. Let's take our marketing investment and put that towards something that will actually be relief for our customers during this time. Then let's help them become aware of the solutions and tools that we have that would best help them adapt during this time. And then I would say the final piece of our strategy was really around creating a sense of community. And we started to develop audio stories, actually, where we had some of our customers calling in, leaving voicemails for us. And we developed it into, at first, just a social campaign where we had them talking about how they were doing, how they were adapting during this time that we used on our organic social channels. And then we ended up later developing that into our first ever brand campaign, where we created photo collages and we shared these stories. And the idea there was really just, I think it can feel very lonely at times to be an entrepreneur and to be running your own business. And we wanted to create this sense of community and show other small businesses how some businesses are getting by, how some are thriving, how it's been really challenging for some, but just how they're thinking about it, as a way to be inspirational and also just to create that sense of community.
That was Mentor Momentum, sharing life and business lessons from incredible leaders. Looking for more momentum? Subscribe to our weekly Momentum newsletter at nextgenhq.com and check out our other podcast, Momentum Audio, on any of your favorite podcast channels. Now that's momentum.